Games this week. Our Highlight Zone game of the week is going to be out at Dave S. Walter Memorial Stadium as Homestead and their high-scoring offense takes on what's now a high-scoring offense for East Noble. What do you expect to see in this one? Because both teams, Homestead's averaging over 50 points a game. East Noble's averaging over 40. What are we going to see on Friday?
Well, what's interesting is Homestead's defense has been every bit as good as its offense this year. It's averaging 56 points a game, but they're only giving up 9.5 points per game. But that makes them the worst defense in this matchup because East Noble's only given up 7 points per game so far. Now, Homestead has played better competition than East Noble has so far. I think Homestead wins this game relatively comfortably. I know a lot of people will say, what are you talking about? East Noble's put the wallop on Northrop, and they played well against Northridge, but Homestead's offense is really clicking. They have a lot of weapons. You know, Grayson Baston, 5 touchdowns last week. Isaac Griffith is tough. The line is tough. Their quarterback's getting better. So I just think on that field turf, if it's decent weather, Homestead will end up winning by 14, 17, something like that. But yeah, we're going to be out there too. It's going to be the New Sentinel Big Game of the Week as well.
You take a look at this a couple years ago. It was the A.J. Dove Bowl as he acted as if he was Brett Favre, one of the more entertaining high school football games we've had over the past few years. Are you surprised at how well East Noble's adapted to this new coaching system with Luke Amstutz? It's a little bit like Depew's system, although they air it out a little bit more, as Amstutz learned as an assistant under Depew before going to Angola. But they've really hit the ground running, considering Weimer played a little bit at quarterback last year.
Right.
They've got a new running back. They've got some new players stepping to the forefront. So does it surprise you that they've started this well as far as the offense goes?
No, it doesn't surprise me with any team that plays well in week 1 or week 2, and I'll tell you why, because football now is a year-round sport. I mean, these kids are doing 7-on-7 camps, and they're doing summer drills, summer conditioning. Football doesn't start August 1st like it used to back in the day. They're doing stuff all through June, July, and Coach Amstutz probably 5 minutes after he was named coach had them in the weight room and talking philosophy and things like that. So, no, the football season's been going on for a long time. So, no, it doesn't surprise me at all that some of these teams can adapt to new coaches, and you know, Coach Depew Garrett's the same way.
One of the games I think that people, especially in the SAC, are interested to watch this week, Northside and Bishop Dwenger, because Northside's put up 50-plus points in both of their games, but Dwenger will definitely be the toughest team that they've faced so far this season. And Northside's defense, Ryan Hall's a defensive guy. I'm sure he's given up more points than he would like. So this is going to be an interesting game, I think, on Friday.
Well, it's going to be interesting because Northside's not going to score like they've scored in the first couple of weeks. Dwenger has slowed a really athletic, explosive Southside offense, and then they did the same thing with Concordia's offense, which is even better than Southside's offense. So Northside is not going to drop 40, 50 points on Dwenger. I can tell you that right now. I think it's going to be a really good game. In fact, we sat and argued the other night as to which the New Sentinel Big Game of the Week should be. Should we go to that game or the East Noble Homestead game? And I'm not sure what the right answer is on that. But I think Northside Dwenger is going to be one of those battles that comes down to the final seconds. Homestead East Noble is going to be a little bit more of a blowout, like I said. But I can't even begin to pick which team's going to win between Northside and Dwenger, because that Northside offense is really good, but that Dwenger defense is really good. Plus that running game of Dwenger, plus an improved quarterback. Whew, that's going to be a tough one.
I think it's going to be a battle. C.J. Jackson may be the toughest quarterback to contain in the SAC. Can they contain him? I don't know that you straight up stop him. And then on the flip side, if Mr. Moon can be contained, it's whichever defense contains the star for the other team, I think is going to be your winner. This was a streak snapper last year, if you remember.
Great game.
A great football game, so we expect more of that on Friday. Another rivalry game out there in Northrop, taking on the Snyder Panthers. As we mentioned before, we don't know what to expect from this Northrop team. It's going to be a rivalry game. They're going to be juiced because they know they could have beaten Bishop Luers last week, and they'd love nothing more than to beat the Snyder Panthers and put a big block on that SAC championship run for Snyder.
Oh, it'd be a great win for Northrop, and you know, I hesitate to doubt Northrop ever again. I don't care if they're playing the Patriots after what they did to Luers last week, but I can't imagine that they would beat Snyder. Snyder is so good defensively. It's one of the better defenses I've ever seen. If they can just get consistent quarterback play, they've got multiple guys that can run the ball. They've got great tight ends. They need to get the receivers more involved, and so I can't fathom that Northrop would beat Snyder. I think Snyder wins this by a couple of touchdowns.
I think with Colin Brockhouse at quarterback, I'm never going to count Northrop out because He's got perhaps the best pure arm of the quarterbacks in the SAC. I like his athleticism. He's a heck of a baseball player, and you just don't want to count out Tim Martone's team after as well as they played last week. You know, they get a few turnovers. Who knows what could happen? Of course, Coach Tippmann will try to make sure that doesn't happen, and he's done a great job in his tenure. In the ACAC, these may be the two best teams. Throw Heritage in there, throw some other teams in there. But Adams Central taking on Leo. Both teams come in 2-0, and Leo has proven that they are a juggernaut. Over 50 in week 1, 49-0. Up at Angola last week. What do you expect to see in this one?
I expect Leo to roll and win this very easily. I wrote a story on this last year. Leo shouldn't be in that conference. They're a much bigger school. They dominate the league. It's been years since they've lost in the league. And Adams Central, as good as they are, they're a great 2A program. They're not Leo's wheelhouse. I mean, Leo is dominant. They're right up there with the Dwenger, Lures, Homesteads, and now Carroll's even. Leo's just a great program, and they're going to go undefeated in this league. They won't be challenged this year. I mean, like, nobody will even be close to Leo until they get into the tournament.
From here on out, we can already tell you that two teams have already had a better season this year than they did last year. And I'm talking about the DeKalb Barons snapping a 22-game losing streak, and also the Wayne Generals going to South Bend Riley and snapping a 12-game losing streak with a victory there, 28-7. How much momentum does that give these programs from here on out, knowing they've got the monkey off their back and they can just kind of relax and go out on Friday and do their thing, knowing that they don't have a losing streak?
Well, I guess they can relax a little bit, but Wayne's going to face a Concordia offense that's going to drop about 40 on them, and so that's going to be really, really hard to deal with. Concordia will get their first win of the season this week at Wayne. I think last week's game, I wrote that if Wayne didn't win last week, they weren't going to win this year and during the regular season. But they got the win, and kudos to them. I think looking at their schedule, though, it's going to be really, really difficult for Wayne to get another win this year. And then DeKalb, they have a tough game with New Haven this week. New Haven dropped, 66 on Woodland the other night? And so anytime you can drop 66, it's a good thing. And so, but DeKalb, those kids are pumped up because they did get a win. They got a win over a good team, too, in Garrett. So they're a little bit emotional right now, but New Haven is a good program that's probably going to win that pretty comfortably.
Any other big games that you're looking forward to? I know Bluffton's out there at 2-0. We haven't talked much about them.
Yeah, Bluffton is the Wabash County champions after beating Manchester and Northfield, for what that's worth. But Bluffton and South Adams is going to be a really good game. South Adams wants to bounce back after losing to Belmont last week, but there's nothing to hang your head about on that. Belmont's a very good team. I think this is a very, very competitive game between these two teams, two evenly matched teams. And then up north, Angola is going to Eastside. And
I knew we wouldn't get past this whole show without mentioning Mike Eschbach.
Or Josh Sheff. I love them both.
That's true.
But no, I think this is going to be a really competitive game, too. The two evenly matched teams, and they do similar things offensively and defensively. I think that's a great, if for the fans that want to spend $5 on a ticket and another $1 for popcorn, well worth the money on and going up to Butler and checking that out. Points
will be scored in that football game if both coaches have their way in that. Well, we will have you covered on Friday night on the Highlight Zone. He'll have you covered every day in the News Sentinel. He's Tom Davis. I'm Glenn Marini, and we'll see you again next Monday.